Joining us on the program now is our guy, Chris Ranko. What's up, Chris? Thanks for hopping down to the UCSS studios and talking some football with us.
Well, I was in the building, so I figured why not? Instead of sitting at my desk, I might as well join the panel here and see if we can make a little trouble.
So you're here early now every day on LeBron Watch, basically.
Yeah, we're on LeBron Watch. I was joking. My fiance is a surgical resident. She has to be on call from time to time.
Yeah.
And I told her yesterday, I'm like, I have so much more of an appreciation for when you're on call.
Yeah.
Because I've been sitting at home waiting to get called in, and you can't really do anything when you're waiting. The suit's in the car, and it may or may not happen.
And let's face it, it's equal pressure. Surgery and LeBron Watch.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
one and the same.
Not higher stakes.
I mean, how do you get drunk? Like, how do you how do you hang out? Like, if y'all want to have a date night, like you can't do the wine. Like, it's
well,
just
she's
like,
not always on call, is she?
No, not always.
Yeah. Listen, shout out to the surgeons. Surgeries on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, your father-in-law is one of the biggest, man. So that's crazy.
All right, let's get into it. So Chris is joining us, obviously, to have this Browns conversation. Mike Florio not doing the rest of us in the media with his conspiracy theory on this one. Let's tell us what it is, Mike.
Yeah, Mike Florio was on his podcast, was asked about Shedeur Sanders, said he had a thought. So this is what Mike Florio thinks about Shedeur Sanders and the Browns quarterback situation. Mike Florio said, quote, "My guess, and it is just a guess, is that at some point, Monken explained to Shedeur that he can't wait until the games to flip the switch. He needs to earn the right to have that opportunity by doing all of the little things when it's not a live situation. If that's what happened, it may have worked. If Shedeur does everything well, Watson will have to do it even better. But that's the key. Full commitment to the process of learning and executing Monken's offense." Is there any validity? And G, you played at the highest of levels, and we've all been around. Guys Bowl, even coaching on the little league and the lower levels.
I don't know what that has to do with anything, but go ahead.
There are guys who sometimes thrive in practice, and then there's guys that don't look good in practice that can turn it on for the games. Just because you do something in practice, you would hope it translates, but not always is that actually the case. G, do you think this is a fair critique, fair theory, however you want to call it, Mike Florio said, about Shedeur and the idea that he may be someone who doesn't perform in practice but can turn it on in games? Or is that just Mike Florio doing what Mike Florio does best sometimes, stirring up the wins?
So this is, from my experience in football, from working with all kind of different people, from guys who now my position coaches, Eric Washington, you know, he's the defensive coordinator for the Bears, and he's been a defensive coordinator for the Panthers, and from the people that I know, Coach Calhoun or Coach Grove. For me, like the people that I've come up in college and been around, this has always been the expectation level. That's for every single person. That expectation level that he's talking about, coaches are pinpoint on what they want to see. It's a new coach. I told people all the time, it's a new coach. It's a new regime. It's a new voice. When you come into the locker room, and they meet with everybody. Everybody meets with their position coaches, and they give them a marching order, right? Everybody, every year. Sometimes it's, hey, I want you to work on the secondary pass rush move. Sometimes it's, hey, I want you to work on getting to the line of scrimmage quicker, making your reads. Hey, I want you to be able to diagnose defenses quicker. Everybody has something that they want to work on. And guess what they do? When they come back, periodically after OTAs, they go on the whiteboard, they say, okay, what did you work on? What did we tell you we wanted you to work on? We want this quicker, X, Y, and Z. And then they give you a critique on it. Some people is, hey, come in better shape. I want to see you run better routes. This is master the obvious. This is motto. This is what every team asks their people to do. And it's no different from what Shedeur Sanders was given that. And it's no different from, and I would hope that it was no different when Kevin Stefanski was here. They give him a marching order. They give him things. They evaluate him. Like, this is the things that football players do. They give you something. They mark your progress and to see how you go about it. So I don't think there's anything different in this, Chris, in terms of what the expectation level is for any NFL player.
I don't necessarily see this as a negative thing, because I think this is a lesson that a lot of athletes have to learn at some point, and it's easy and it's a big hurdle to go from college, where maybe Shedeur was the best at what he could do in college, but you're talking about the best of the best in the NFL, and there's that next level to it, and it's, yeah, maybe in college you're that good, you don't have to practice as hard. You don't have to treat it like a game because you're just that much better than the other guys who are going to be working a corporate job when this is done. Now this is the NFL. These are all professionals. Everybody drives nice cars. Practice matters more. So I think this is just a simple learning curve. If this is what really happened, that Shedeur had to come through, and consistency, I think, is what he really needs if he's going to be a really good NFL quarterback. He has to do it consistently. We've seen flashes at this point. So call it a hurdle, call it a learning moment.
Jason, did you take this? You guys don't seem to have taken this as a slight from Florio. I think and maybe I got this wrong. I thought he was saying, well, he hasn't worked hard enough. He's got to work harder.
Boil it down, he's saying you got to take practice seriously.
Yeah.
That's what Florio is
okay,
saying.
so that's an accusation. That's it's a negative accusation.
And the way I look at it is, he's worked out. He was practicing last year when he was by himself. He was practicing when he was on the field. If he didn't get the reps, he went in practice. I think that there's a misconception that people aren't self-starters. There's a misconception that people don't want it or people are not putting the energy or effort into it. These guys are at the highest levels and they understand what it is. It's the same way about with Deshaun Watson. I think we got to bring it back and understand that these dudes are fighting for their careers, they're fighting for their legacies, and they're fighting for what you do and put on that field. Like, it's a sanctity involved. Every single person out there got a family that they trying to feed. So the thought process that people just waking up out of bed, just rolling over, not putting no work in, it's impossible, bro. These guys is 4 or 5 practices.
Johnny Manziel, maybe, but
there are some rare cases, right? So like, and the expectation level from Todd Monken should be that. The expectation is, look, man, I got a guy. I like what you've done, but let's turn it up a notch. We kicking it up. Every year you got to bring something different to the table. Magic Johnson said it. When I was in the offseason, I knew Larry Bird was working. I knew what Larry was doing and what Kareem was doing. So I had to take my stuff up a next notch. So to me, this is a no-brainer. Of course he's going to kick it up a notch.
I said practice. I should have said preparation. Take the preparation seriously because
Okay.
I think it extends beyond
right.
what you see, the clips of practice and everything.
Yeah.
What was funny when I read that, Mike sent it to us. I hadn't seen it until Mike sent it to us last night. And my first thought was, I don't know Mike Florio at all. But if you're saying, if your belief is that Monken is telling Shedeur that, well, how would Todd know how he takes anything? Todd's never been around him.
Right, yeah.
So where did he get that from? He got it from people who had already been here.
Now, he's saying he's just speculating. You don't believe that?
But no, I'm just saying, if you believe Todd Monken pulled Shedeur aside and said that,
right.
Well, where did Todd get that belief from? He hasn't seen him.
Right, until the mini camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
So, I don't know. Like, we're at the phase where we just have to create things to talk about.
I got to say.
And I'm so tired of creating
Yeah.
Can we just practice? Let's say, how about we just go play football?
The Browns just sent out their practice schedule for next week, G. We got select select players available Wednesday. They practice at 1:15. Monken available after practice.
Wednesday is just rookies, right? Or no? Or is it full camp?
I believe all the rookies check in on Monday. Then Wednesday's the first day.
I believe Wednesday's first full practice.
Okay, good. So it's a week from today.
Yeah.
Let me just say this about Shedeur Sanders. Just based on, I just saw these comments and I'm like, and then the Rex Ryan thing earlier this week, I'm sure you guys talked about it, but the Rex Ryan thing was just so stupid. And, there's this whole, I'm not going to go down the whole road. I'll just say this. I've made my thoughts on Shedeur Sanders very clear. I'm not a huge believer in him. I 100% would give him this opportunity. I want to see if he can be the quarterback of the future. And although I'm leaning towards him not being the quarterback of the future, I don't think it's a 100% thing. And I want to see it, and I want to give him that chance. And ideally, it would be best for the franchise, I think, if he could become that guy, because then you have all this draft capital to spend on other things. That being said, I've made it very clear that I'm not a big believer in him. That all being said, I think, and I know I learned personally a lesson from Tim Tebow. I was finding the hype around Tim Tebow so annoying that I started to take it out on Tim Tebow. Not that Tim Tebow even knows who the hell I am or necessarily care. But I started like kind of taking shots at Tim Tebow because I was so sick of the fans that supported him. I found it annoying, and I realized at some point I'm letting this affect my being fair about Tim Tebow. And so with the Shedeur Sanders thing, when he started getting such a big following, I wanted to make a point of saying, okay, if I'm going to be critical of Shedeur Sanders, I have to leave the fans' insanity out of it. I can't let that affect my critique. What I think, if I truly believe it's fair, then it's, people might disagree, but if I know in my heart that I think I'm being fair, then that's fine. So I think that's when people like Rex Ryan, and he's not, I guess he is, if we're calling Tyvus a media member, we got to say Rex Ryan's a media member. Like when guys say stupid stuff like that, it just kind of makes us all look bad. And I hate that because then when I give a fair criticism or what I think is a fair criticism, it's like, you're a hater. And ultimately, I no longer care when people get mad at me. But I just think it's silly because I'm not a hater. And I'm not going to say so. I'm not going to get mad at a player for doing commercials when who cares? Every player that has a chance to make money, every person. If you told me I could make whatever the hell money Shedeur's making, I'm sure it's a lot, doing some commercial, I'm going to do it. Okay? Because everybody wants to get paid. You can pretend you're above it, you're not. Most people are not. Some people are, very few. So if he wants to get paid, that's fine. To call the guy a me guy and a selfish guy, is he a different personality for a typical football player? Of course he is. Who wouldn't be if their father was Deion Sanders? How could he not be different than other people? But the thing is, to call this guy a selfish guy and I know football, when he just had this camp for 500 kids, and they didn't pay anything. The kids didn't pay anything.
I
don't understand. Like, what are we trying to get? If you don't think Shedeur Sanders is very good at football, you're entitled to that opinion. I'm leaning in that direction. I don't think he's I shouldn't even say I don't think he's very good at football. I'm just not convinced he's a starting quarterback in the NFL, or at least a good enough one. And maybe I'll be wrong, and maybe he'll just be a backup or whatever. But that has nothing to do with this other stuff. Is so stupid. And Rex Ryan makes everybody look foolish by those idiotic comments.
And it's frustrating. I try to stay out of it, but you are correct. He makes it more difficult for people if they have an opinion about something, because what the thing that we get is he just gave a camp, right? He spent a bunch of money to go down there. And let me just tell you about what happens in the black community. Like when these people, we talked about how expensive it is to do things. We talk about how travel is. We talk about how there's no access. He pulled up to a place where there's disenfranchised people who don't have much. And just to see the joy on their faces and the way they reacted was crazy. If you're a person, I got love for any kids, right? I love kids to make sure that they have access to certain things. So for Rex Ryan to take that opportunity when somebody is doing something good in their community to do something where he's going to garner some respect or garner some clicks, bro, it wasn't even about that. He just gave a free camp. And at certain points in time, you got to look at yourself in the mirror as a grown man. Like, what makes you say that? Because at the end of the day, anybody can have a conversation about whether or not Shedeur is going to be good or not. And we can have a football conversation and wait for the season to figure out. But when you saying that, oh, it's a me guy, when he's out here trying to do something for a community and he did it free of charge, that tells me more about you than it tells me about him, because you using that to capitalize on something that don't even need to be talked about. If you don't think Shedeur can play, just say, hey, listen, we'll wait and see if he can play or not, and we can hash that out over some film. But some of this stuff is ridiculous from grown men. I just don't get it.
I thought it was classless by Rex Ryan.
I just don't get it.
I thought that was ridiculous. And I'm clearly no Shedeur Sanders defender, but that it's just unnecessary.